Good morning.
Hey Maria, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. I'm making you the co-host now. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a camera on?
I do. 1 second.
Okay. Oh, that's a nice background.
Thank you. Um,
Where is that?
that is at Auburn. I think that's the one I have. That is Sanford Hall.
Is that right? I would have never known that.
Alabama fan?
I went to both, actually. I went to Auburn twice. Auburn and I did not see eye to
I see.
eye. And then I finished at Alabama. So I know both campuses, but not that hall. I never went there. I went to whatever the big like square one was, student hall. Forget the
I
name.
see. It's really changed since
Oh gosh, Auburn is 100% different than when I was there. The whole place. When were you there?
I went there for grad school. So I was there from 2020 to 2022. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, just now. So where did you go to undergrad?
I went to West Georgia in Carrollton.
Okay. Did it have a different name at one time?
West Georgia College.
Okay. Are you from there? Carol?
I'm from Atlanta.
Okay.
So it was about an hour and a half from my parents.
Okay.
And so it was just enough to be away, but close enough if I needed them and vice versa.
Right.
So then when I went to Auburn, it's, like 2 hours away, I guess, from Atlanta. And then my sister lived in Birmingham at the time. So I was close to her if I needed
Okay.
her. But
So where are you now? Are you in West Alabama?
I'm in Birmingham.
You're in Birmingham. Oh, okay. But you're with Middle Alabama Area Agency on Aging.
Yes.
Okay. And
Which
so
is
who's in that service? Is that Shelby County?
Shelby, Walker, St. Clair, Chilton, and Blount counties.
Okay. And is it also sometimes called M4A?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's our shortened name because it's a mouthful. So they
How
they
did
like
you
to shorten it.
did you just finish school and start right out of school?
I did. I started last year and I graduated in May of 2022, then started the job June 1st
Oh my. We went
of
right to
2022. So I've been here for a year.
what do you like about it? I'm so glad that you're young and you want to speak and educate. I mean, that's really admirable.
My favorite part, well, I worked with the elderly when I was in undergrad and I was a server at a nursing home and I
Hey,
gave people food and I was a waitress and bus tables and everything. And I liked the population. I wouldn't say the job per se, but the population.
uh,
I really liked hearing their stories and just talking to them. And then I just knew that working with the elderly is just my calling. Helped out and volunteered for a teacher's mother while she was on vacation and like visited with her, learned a ton from her in her childhood in South Georgia.
uh,
And so, yeah, the
love
elderly
it
is just
too.
who I like to hang out with and work with, I guess.
Me too. I'm that guy. When I was in college, undergrad, I would go at least every other weekend and stay with my grandfather, who was, I think, like 83 at the time. Even in college, and I mean, I had fun in college, don't get me wrong, but I still enjoyed my grandfather enough to want to see him once or twice a month. And then it sort of led me to this, or being sort of in a way raised by he and my grandmother, not totally, but in a way. And then also, liking to put people together just what I like to do, sort of made me want to do what I do, which is put people together to help aging people.
Yes, and I just can't work with kids. Like, it's just too sad in the social work realm of things. I guess it could be happy, but to me, it's very sad, and I would want to like take them all home, and that's
Yeah,
just not doable. So,
yeah.
I can't separate that emotional piece of work and personal life.
Yeah. Now, were you going to tell your personal story as part of your thing, or do you want me to use that to introduce you? Or
Oh, I can say it. I
okay,
can
it'd be
do
better coming from you than me.
it. Okay.
And let's see. It's 11:55. Do you have a presentation that you can load?
Let me share my screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, make sure I share the right tab, because I have about 900 open right now. Let's see. Okay, let's.
So you may remember I will monitor the waiting room, so don't worry about that. And I'll monitor the chat room as well.
Okay. Usually I have your job for when I do the CEUs for us. Usually I'm in your spot, and I'm waiting on the speakers to get all their ducks in a row, and I'm the one that's moderating and checking the chat and everything.
Yeah, it's and I've forgotten to do something. I need to do something real quick.
Okay, sounds good.
Uh, I also enjoyed talking with you, but I forgot to put anything in the chat room, like a welcome message. So we're going to start in 3 minutes. And did I mention this is recorded? I don't know that I did.
I think you said that it was for the others, so I just assumed.
Okay. All right. Do you mind?
Oh, no, not at all.
And we're going to post this on my YouTube channel and also probably on my website. We just post the most recent 6.
Okay, perfect.
So if you have people you want to share it with or put it on your resume or whatever, it'll be there. And then I can send you the recording if you'd like it as well.
Okay, yes. I got to do one thing right at noon, but it'll take less than 5 minutes.
Okay. So we'll just leave this up, and we can even start here late until I get Skype in here. We had 139 registered. All right, Maria, if you're hearing me, I'm going to let everyone in. It's 57 so far. And I'll stretch it till you're ready. Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to Care Concierge with Care Patrol, where education is the heart of everything we do. And today I'm very, very pleased to have one of our former attendees, a social worker who I think has just completed her master's in social work, Maria Mayhan, with us to discuss her passion, which is the area agencies on aging. And she's going to share with us all about area agencies on aging. If you are unfamiliar with us, who we are Care Patrol. Care Patrol is an aging care navigator or health navigator or placement service, by whatever name you call us. We do the same thing, which is to assess and assist and handhold people who are in either planning stages or crisis needs for care involving sitters or assisted living or memory care or skilled nursing or other services. We work for free. We're paid by private pay entities like assisted living, but we work with everyone who comes to us, and I hope that you will share clients and friends and patients with us that we might call upon if they're in crisis and in need of help. As those of you who've been with us know, we have an evaluation process, and we're accredited by the Alabama Board of Nursing, and we're also accredited by the Alabama Board of Social Work. And both of those, or the Alabama Board of Social Work, allows us, by using a password protected evaluation process, to show that these hours, which are live, are indeed live, and that you social workers who are participating are getting the credit for a face-to-face course, 1.0 hour. Today we are going to use this password, which is for our survey after the presentation. And you can see I'm fumbling with trying to type and talk. And as those of you who've been with us know, it's password protected. We'll give the password at the end, and that again shows the board you were here with us. If you are participating by phone or by a screen, or can't see the screen, it's too small. If you're ready, I'm going to read to you the evaluation link that we'll use today. And that evaluation will occur afterward, and it will be password protected. We give the password at the end. The evaluation link today, and I've posted it into the chat room as well, is https://www.surveymonkey.com/all uppercase letters, D as in dog, G as in girl, H as in horse, S as in Sean, 5, P as in Paul, Q as in quail. That is our evaluation link. And if you're not able to see the chat, if you're new to Zoom, move your cursor up to the top of your screen or the bottom. A black bar should appear, and on that bar is the word chat. You can click there and participate with us, and we'd love to have you join in our discussion. I'm sure Maria feels, as I do, that our discussion is enhanced and enriched when you participate. The voices of many are always greater than the voices of one or two. So we do encourage your participation. And I think it's something that not only does it is, yeah, and hopefully, bring value to you, but it helps other people. And everyone's knowledge is appreciated and experienced, and we want to hear from you if you're so willing. And if you want to be unmuted, let me know in the chat room and I'll unmute you, and you can add to the discussion, add your experience or guidance or passion or education, however it may be. You can join our discussion. Ms. Mayhan, like many of you, is a practicing and active clinician, and she had an appointment that had to occur, a call at exactly noon. So I'm going to ask if she is available, and if not, perhaps I'll open up a question and a discussion. So Ms. Mayhan, are you back from your call? Are you able to lead our discussion yet?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. And it honors me that you call me sir, but you don't have to.
Good morning, or I guess it's afternoon, everyone. My name is Maria Mayhan. I was recently recognized as a licensed master social worker as of in April. So I'm pretty new to the field, but in terms of experience, I've had experience from really the bottom up. I started working with the elderly in a retirement community, serving people food and busing tables, all the way up to where I am now and practicing for the Area Agency on Aging in Alabaster, Alabama, which is about 30 minutes south of Birmingham, Alabama. I am currently the Special Projects Coordinator at the Middle Alabama Area Agency on Aging, also known as M4A. And I kind of do all kinds of things, doing educational pieces like this, presentations out in the community, marketing, ordering our promotional items. I am also going to have an intern in the fall, so supervising people learning how to practice social work. I will also be teaching a class for UA for our older learners come spring 2024, since we're in 2023 now. So that's kind of what I'm doing and what my role looks like right now. And I'm going to go ahead and present on all about area agencies on aging. Get this to all righty. So the Alabama Aging Network operates in all 67 counties within the state of Alabama. We are one of 13 local area agencies on aging. Our overall mission is to age in place within the community because 90% of adults age 65 and older want to stay in their homes. Area agencies on aging are across the United States. Whatever state you go to, you will be able to find one for that county that you live in. And you can access that area agency on aging or finding your local one by calling 1-800-AGE-LINE, and you'll be able to be connected to your local area agency on aging. Our mission is to empower individuals, people living with disabilities, and their caregivers to self-educate as well as live independently and safely in the communities of their choice, assisting all ages at all stages. Aging and Disability Resource Center, or ADRC, serves as a single entry point for long-term care and support. It empowers people to make informed decisions about their long-term care supports, services through a streamlined access system. And you can call 1-800-AGE-LINE to be connected to your local area agency on aging. This is our...
Maria, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm so interested in this. So tell me, the Aging and Disability Resource Center, is that where I would call if I were calling about a friend or a client? Or is that where you call if you are someone who's aging, yourself?
I believe that either can call them and they will analyze your needs or the person that's you're calling for's needs with permission, of course. And they will analyze what is needed, what requirements, what qualifications will be met or not met, because each of our programs have various qualifications, various age minimums, and I'm sure there's income-based things too. So one person might be able to get those income-based programs, whereas another person might not, just based on income.
Okay, and so like M4A has like an ADRC within it, or is this some other place?
Yes, our ADRC is going to be run by a couple of our staff employees, and
Okay.
their sole job is to pick up calls and screen people.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just jumped out. Forgive me.
No worries. So do you know what local area agency on aging is in your county? There's 13. I'll go back to the map. Maybe you'll be able to tell which one. So we
And
have
so this would be a great opportunity for us to participate in the chat. I'd love to see if people can guess, even though they have the chart in front of them. SARPC, Sarcoa, Lee Russell, East Alabama, LRCOG, TARCOG, ADRC for SARPC. Oh, she works. Ashley Talbert works there. Do y'all know each other?
I feel like I've seen your name before.
That's great. I love that. Oh, so many good answers. Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, Maria. It's just so fun to see what people say.
Yes, and each of them have different acronyms because they're funded differently throughout the state, which I don't know how much or why they're funded differently, since they kind of do all the same things, but that's why some of them end in G and some of them end in C, and then a variety of different things. I should probably know why, but I do not, so I'm sorry.
Is it so that is federally, isn't the program federal with state participation kind of?
I think so, yes.
I'm sure the OC or OG is a tax designation of some sort, maybe.
So we'll keep moving. Some of the key services that we offer, which are across the board, whichever area agency on aging is local to you, they're going to have identical services. They just might be called something slightly different. So we have crisis support, transportation, food assistance, legal assistance, nutritious meals, which is also known as Meals on Wheels, in-home services, senior employment, elder abuse prevention, long-term care advocacy, caregiver support services, medication services, medication assistance, Medicare and Medicaid counseling, health and wellness. And I'm going to dive deeper into those key services that we offer. So starting off with the elderly nutrition program, it provides meals in a congregate or home setting. These are the meals that are going to be provided at our senior centers to our seniors. That's the elderly nutrition program. Alabama Cares is caregiver support, providing individuals with at least 20 hours of unpaid care to individuals 60 and older or any age with dementia-related diagnoses, individuals age 55 and older who are informally raising a child 18 or younger. And we have virtual and in-person meetings throughout the year. You can find those on our calendar on the M4A website, or you can find them on social media, Facebook and Instagram. You can also find it in our newsletter, which goes out on Friday mornings. And you can find those, one of them is called Coffee Break. And the other one, I think, is just, it has the Alabama Cares logo on it. And that's also caregiver support. And we have them throughout the 5 counties that we serve. Senior RX is a prescription drug assistance program. It helps individuals apply and receive free name brand medications from pharmaceutical companies. And the goal for Senior RX is to reduce the economic stress to low-income families who are facing financial hardship due to the high cost of prescription medication. Through Senior RX, the Area Agency on Aging strives to promote better health and improve the quality of life of Alabama's older population and peoples with disabilities. We do have one person that's over this, and she also makes calls and will screen you for the services and see if you qualify for those drug assistance programs, reducing the price of medication. This is also, fun fact, it's called brown bagging. They use that in pharmaceutical, like pharmacy schools. Though our nursing staff doesn't always know that's what it's called, but you can get your medications reduced in that way because the price of medications is very high. One pill for, say, cancer treatment could cost upwards of thousands and thousands of dollars, and that's just one pill. You might need to take multiple throughout the day or through the week, whatever your doctor has you on that kind of plan. So this is great for reducing those costs.
Ms. Mayhan, I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you know the age limit on this
Let me look.
to be senior RX?
Let me see. One second.
Is it 55 or 62 maybe? I'm sorry. I'm thinking of someone I know who actually is a friend who I think could participate and benefit from this. And $55, Miss Kathy. Oh, 55 years. Thank you. Miss Kathy says it's 55, Miss Mayhan. I'll be quiet.
That sounds right. Yes, I think it was 55 when I had my paper. So. All right, so our next program is Alabama SHIP. Open enrollment will begin on October 15th and will end in December. So some of the counseling that we offer includes Medicare, Medicare supplement, Medicare savings programs, Medicaid, prescription drugs, plan comparison, billing and claims, rights and protection, and long-term care. We also have someone over this program. Her name is Letitia, and she goes out and talks about these different services that she can counsel you on. And I think she just finished up all about Medicare and Medicaid a couple weeks ago, if they're not still going on. And she goes out into the community and talks about the SHIP program, or the State Health Insurance Assistance Program. So that's what that is. All right, moving on to legal services. Now, M4A is very fortunate to work alongside Jan Neal. She is a lawyer that is very, very intelligent and informative about legal services for our elderly. If you've ever been to our Take a Stand webinars, she does quite a few of those for us and has talked about a variety of services that we can help for the elderly. So some free legal assistance available include Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, veterans benefits, and unemployment compensation, draft advance directives, and designate surrogate decision makers if needed. She talked about living wills and such. Get help with issues related to guardianship or who are the subject of guardianship actions, access to available housing, get you help with foreclosure or eviction proceedings, gain access to the full benefit of appropriate long-term care, private financing options. And under that, I'll say that we also have some other people that are our ombudsmen, and they can also help you with that long-term care piece. Maintaining long-term financial solvency and economic security, and ensuring the rights of the elderly. So she's going to be doing that, and legal services also kind of ties into the elder abuse piece. I don't know, she doesn't necessarily help with that, but that is another piece that we also kind of counsel on and make sure that you're getting the dignity, getting the care with dignity and worth that everyone deserves. That would be underneath our legal services. So the Gateway to Community Living encompasses Alabama Medicaid's initiative to expand home and community-based resources for Alabamians who are are aging and have disabilities, but would prefer to receive services in their home. Like I said before, most people want to stay at home and age in place. They don't want to go to nursing homes or retirement communities. They want to just stay at home. And I'll be honest, the United States isn't always great at that. I think a lot of times we want to put grandma into the nursing home because that's what we think is best. And we want to have that, live our lives continue where we are, while mom is being cared for in a home with professionals. But they don't always want that. So our goal is to age in place, age at home within reason, and making sure that those services that I've been talking about are implemented if needed. Moving on. So this isn't really a service to help someone, but to enhance their life as they're aging and might become more isolated. People need purpose and they need things to do. If you're retired and your kids are grown and grandbabies might not necessarily live next to you, we have the Senior Community Service Employment Program. You can go back to work, which doesn't sound super exciting to some, but it's out there. And you can get work-based training for older, if you're older, and or someone said, I saw somewhere 50 and better. So that provides useful community services and fosters individuals' economic self-sufficiency through training and placement into unsubsidized jobs. Participants gain work experience in a variety of community service activities. That can look like actually coming and helping us out, taking calls or stuffing folders, things like that, restocking books at a library, light janitorial work, which I don't really know how light that might be, seems kind of physically demanding. Participants work an average of 20 hours a week and are paid the highest federal, state, or local minimum wage, which I believe is about $7.50 right now. This training serves as a bridge to unsubsidized employment opportunities for opportunities for participants. Successful participants who successfully participate in the program are able to secure employment and have a better quality of life.
May I interrupt again? I have
Yes,
a personal question. My mother, could she be someone who could do this? She has, I think, mild early stage dementia, but she can still learn things. And I wonder, would there be some sort of employment that I could help her find? She talks about getting a job a lot.
Yes, I think that they do kind of have a vetting process of just like any other job,
Sure.
like an interview, because they would have to be somewhat self-sufficient, in like not so much assistance. Like we at M4I have stairs. We make sure that our people don't have to go up the stairs, but like walking to the building by ourselves or things like that. But I think they would just kind of analyze and see where she is and do it like any other job seeking someone.
That's awesome. I'm so happy. I'm so glad you told me about this.
Right. So talked about the senior employment. Now we're going to talk about our veterans. So our veteran services, our ADRC is knowledgeable about services directed to veterans, and we screen individuals and identify their needs, provide resources and information as needed. M4A is currently in the process of becoming a partner with the VA to provide veteran-directed care, or VDC, in our region, which we just started. This program aims to serve veterans of any age at risk of nursing home placement. Veterans directed care enables the veterans to work with an M4A care coordinator and to develop an individualized care plan and manage their own budget, hire personal care assistants, and employ and train that person. So we just started the Veterans Direct program, and so that's kind of just getting off the floor now. So I have another question. How do you think someone, or do you know someone who could benefit from the services mentioned this far? I know Mr. Sean just said a couple of the services could help people he knows. So I was wondering if anybody else can think of other people that might benefit from these services, or just informing people that you know about the services, even if they don't necessarily need them.
Miss Kathy says she's helped several patients with these services. Miss Anderson says, yes, a relative, but are there any income requirements? That's a good question.
Yes, there are income requirements. I don't have them right with me, but like I said, each of our programs do kind of have a vetting process, and they'd be able to get you those income limits.
Miss Wright says, all of my patients, ha ha. Miss Shanklin says, I've had several past experiences with the folks in the SCSEP program. Miss Anderson says, thanks. And Miss Jardigan says, as a social worker, this information is very helpful, and it was great to have a refresher course. And she had said earlier, Miss Jernigan had pointed out something that I believe she works as you do, Miss Mayhan. And she said that she had worked with Senior RX to help get together, or to help a senior adult get insulin. And that's, she said that it was a very helpful thing. And I believe Miss Kathy works with as well. So you have so many colleagues on the line. I'm so pleased.
Great. So home and community-based services, or Medicaid waiver services at M4A and in a lot of area agencies, this is like the worker bees. This is where everything is. This is all our case managers. This is it. This is true social work here. Home and community-based services, also known as HCBS, provides opportunities for Medicaid beneficiaries to receive services in their own homes or community rather than institutions or other isolated settings. Again, people want to age in their home. M4A's Elderly and Disabled Waiver Program, or END waiver program, serves as a variety of targeted populations, such as people with intellectual or developmental disabilities, physical disabilities, or mental illness. Available services to those who qualify include case management, homemaker services, personal care, respite and unskilled nursing, adult day health, adult companion services, and home delivered meals. That's our Meals on Wheels. And the plan of care and case management services are based on the individual client's needs. Now, a lot of the other services that I had mentioned are for our elderly, kind of depending on which service. It's like 55, 65, 60, like that age range, depending on the services and that person's needs. This one, they like to say, is from birth to death. Really, one of the directors had a client that was like 18 months old. She's also had people that are like 99 years old. So this one is a variety of ages. We even have people going into Children's of Alabama in Birmingham and educating their social workers on these services, which I've been able to also kind of dive into and learn from them and get information not only from Children's, but also hearing my coworkers talk about the services that we provide. So ACT waiver. This is a Medicaid waiver program, provides services to individuals who are currently reside in long-term care facilities, but wish to transition back to the community. ACT services include transitional assistance service, skilled nursing, home modifications, assistive technology, personal emergency response systems, personal assistance services, as well as all the same services provided through traditional END waiver. So basically what that's saying is that we can help you get out of these long-term care facilities and provide you with things that will make your quality of life better, like the alert buttons, Sometimes we can put in ramps, homemaker services, personal assistant services like nursing and stuff like that. So that's what ACT waiver is. Personal choices. This program is an option for individuals who are on HCBS waiver programs to hire their own caregiver to provide services. Participants are provided a monthly allowance from which they determine what services they need. Financial counselors are available through M4A to assist with this spending plan. So personal choices is having that caregiver to help you out throughout the day. And then this is also kind of tied to our Medicaid waiver services. Hospital to home, this is new. We're one of a couple area agencies or agencies in general that are piloting this program. It's exactly what it's saying, getting you from a hospital rehab center back home. Again, reiterating the fact that we want to age and be in our homes safely from the hospital while reducing long-term care, placement and rehospitalization. Hospital to home assists Medicaid recipients with an expedited application process to initiate services like homemaker services, personal care services, weekly home delivered meals, medical supplies, and personal emergency response systems. So you must.
I'm sorry, I had two comments from Miss Kathy had said that when we were on the slide about Medicaid waiver, home care based, she said, this is what I have used the most for my patients on hospice, which is interesting. I love the application to hospice. And Miss Duhan asked a question I was going to ask, which is, what is the average wait time for Medicaid waiver services in the M4A area?
I'm not sure, but I can get that answer to you. I can, if you want to put your email in the chat, I will email them and ask them and see kind of what that is looking like, because I'm not 100% sure. And then I see this question from Miss Waits. Who makes this referral and what is the turnaround time for staff to see their patient? Again, I don't really know, but I will ask and see what the answer is to that. So if you want to just put your emails in the chat, and I will make sure and copy and paste it and make sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I know in Jefferson County at one time, it was quite a long, like maybe a year-long list. And then there was, if I recall, there's a cap on how many hours you can see or be seen, rather. I'm not sure if it's monthly or annual, but for some reason the number 720 sticks in my head. Maybe I made it up, but do you know any of those things? I'm sort of, it's been a while.
Do not, I'm sorry. I do not know the hours. So I will ask.
And if I understand you, I mean, they're all tied to the ACT and the hospital to home. And there was one other, I believe, that was sort of tied to Medicaid waiver. And I just wonder, really these days, are there staff to deliver the services?
Yes, that's a whole nother question and a whole different discussion, is whether or not we have the staff to do all of these things.
Right.
All right, so community ombudsman. So I learned that ombudsman is a Swedish term, and I forgot what it means, but it's Swedish. So if you're ever on Jeopardy, then you know that it's Swedish. Investigate and resolve complaints on behalf of the residents, each long-term care facility to evaluate conditions, ensure residents receive the quality care to which they are entitled, act as a mediator between residents, family members, and facility staff, educate residents, family members, and facility staff, provide information to the public, and assist with resident and family councils. So our community ombudsman, we have two right now, to go out to our facilities and provide services. The purpose of an ombudsman.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Miss Kathy was saying that Jefferson County did have a 6-month to 1 year wait list, but Coleman and Blount County seem to have a fast turnaround time. And Ms. Talbert said the personal choices program really helps with staffing in our rural areas. That's interesting. And
Yes.
Ivy Walker says ombudsman means advocate. They are advocates for the residents in nursing homes and assisted livings. And I guess my question to y'all is, I often tell my clients to contact the ombudsman is, what power does the ombudsman have to make change or to, discipline, I guess would be the right word, or punish? Do you know, Ms. Mayhan?
I feel like, in my personal opinion, I feel like they're kind of the mediators and kind of
Okay.
want to like kind of ruffle everyone's feathers, and like if there is a need for law enforcement, they can go out and kind of just do that. Yeah, someone said the ombudsman is not the regulatory authority, and they're there to investigate and resolve complaints on behalf of the residents, visit at each of the long-term care facilities to evaluate conditions, ensure residents receive the quality care to which they are entitled, act as a mediator between residents, family members, and facility staff, educate residents, family members, and facility staff, provide information to the public, and assist residents with family counsel. So yes, they are the mediator and will help assist with that, because then when you see on the news, the really bad nursing homes, someone has gone in there and said, hey, like you need to check this one out. In layman's terms, I guess you could say. So yeah, that's what ombudsmen are doing. And
Miss Anderson asked, how do ombudsmen differ from social workers? That's a good question.
So as a social worker, you have a lot of hats. You can be an advocate, you can be a mediator, kind of like the mom, if you want to put it that way. You have a lot of different hats depending on what setting you're in. You can do a variety of different types of social work, as you may know, and the ombudsman is the mediator. So they're going to just try to ruffle out the feathers and keep people from fighting each other, I guess you could say. If we're going to go back to the mom analogy, making sure that no one is fighting each other and no one loses an eyeball. So that's kind of what they're doing. That's how they don't really, I wouldn't say differ from a social worker. They are social workers, but maybe not by licensure or degree. Our two ombudsmen happen to have social work license, not licensed, but they have degrees in social work. They don't have their license. But to become an ombudsman, you have to take a test and then you'll be certified. So it's a certification, and you're kind of a social worker by trade, if you want to be called, if you want to call it that.
Is it a full-time job?
Mm-hmm. Both of ours are full-time.
And are there volunteer ombudsmen as well?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Ms. Shanklin says there are.
Oh, good.
Mr. Dozier said, or Mrs. Dozier, I'm not sure, says the same. Ms. Shanklin says much of it is volunteer dependent, so like hospice, I guess, in that sense. Volunteers are also certified.
Yes. And someone said that they don't have to have a social work degree or license. That's true. You don't necessarily have to have that. A lot of people call themselves social workers by trade. So that is that. Okay, so this is a little screenshot of our website and how to kind of get that started and making referrals and stuff like that on our M4A website, which we're constantly updating. So that's step one. Let's see if I can get it to. There are 4 kinds of people in the world: those who are currently caregivers, those who have been caregivers, those who will be caregivers, and those who will need caregivers. And that's by former First Lady Rosalind Carter. Here is our survey. and a little QR code so that you can go ahead and do that survey for your CEUs.
Are there any other questions? Because I think there's a lot here that we could talk about, because I'm sure that many people on this call, as they've already said, work with or even for an area agency on aging, and there's so much that you do. Really, I was sorry to interrupt as often as I did, but I held my tongue because I have so many questions about it, and a lot of it is about the Medicaid waiver, but the rest is other are the things that you mentioned. If I could go back in my head, I'm not able to do that. I'm not as young as you are. And I want to say to those who are listening that it's been a real pleasure to have Ms. Mayhan speak up, because she is, and I don't mean this in any way other than praise, so young. She's just completed her degree. She's doing teaching and educating, and it's so important. And you can tell, and I could tell talking to her before we opened today, that she has a passion for what she does, but in particular, a passion for aging folks. And that's so unique among this generation. We so need more people like Maria Mayhan in the world. And oh, Ms. Tolver says you do a great job with the newsletter, Maria.
Thank you so much.
Does anyone else have questions or things to offer? We have to go another 8 minutes in order to do the hour, 1.0 hour, and we can certainly do that by way of discussion. Does anyone want to unmute, or anyone have anything to ask or add? Now we got to look at me. Oh, Ms. Shanklin has put in the ombudsman international entity, she says, for the ombudsman. I mean, I thought that the ombudsman would be somehow part of the Alabama Department of Public Health, which oversees everything, and that they would somehow have some regulatory ability or censure ability or something. Oh, Ms. Mayhan has put in the password today, which is age line, and you're welcome to take it. But I do want you not to please leave here. It'll show on the thing I turn in when I'm audited when you left, and that wouldn't be a good thing for you to get the hour. And it is a live hour, remember that. So we're live, we're here, we have Maria, we have Ms. Shanklin, we have Ms. Talbert, we have others who work with the area agencies on aging. And one thing too is, oh, here's Ms. Shanklin. In Maryland, where I am, oh, I didn't know you were in Maryland. Ombudsmen know the regulations, but cannot enforce them the same way the Department of Health can. Ms. Kathy says every nursing home has an ombudsman. That's true. They have to post a post. Yes, I see them poster of the phone number and name picture of who the ombudsman is. And Ms. Talbert says the Medicaid waiver elderly and disabled program income limits are 27, was the same as Medicaid, 27.42 per month per applicant and 2,000 in assets. So it's the same as institutional Medicaid, but it wouldn't include the home and the car in this case, because they would be sort of granted as part of the ability to remain at home. And I remember, you know, under Governor Bentley in Alabama, the area agencies on aging were going to have a big part in Medicaid expansion. That was to happen in the north. It was in 5 regions. And in the north, they had brought in Centara, a Carolina-based rehab firm, to run that, and maybe with Huntsville Hospital. I'm not sure if that really ever got off the ground, because then COVID hit, and then there was a new administration, or somewhere in there was a new administration. But does anyone know if this Alabama Hospital Home sort of act, I believe you called it, Ms. Mayhan, is related to Medicaid expansion somehow? Because I know that some of you know the answers to these questions I have. Not all the questions I have, but some. No one knows the answer to that. Well, maybe it didn't happen, because I haven't heard anything more about it. It was part of the whole idea. Of course, that's all now water under the bridge of having, Medicare change the reimbursement formula based on its new formula. And this was in 2018, I believe. So that may have fallen the wayside. But it's interesting to me, and I've said this to y'all before, that Medicaid in Alabama does not cover assisted living, and yet it covers home care, which is 3 times as expensive, and nursing homes, which are twice as expensive. Is there any way a person that does not have Medicaid can get homemaker services? Ms. Mayhan, do you know the answer?
There might be a way, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, I don't do anything for Medicaid waiver services, so I'm really sorry. I'm just kind of the one that directs people to the right person to talk to. So I'm not 100% sure. That's a good question. I wonder if they can.
Ms. Talbert says SARPC has a Title III-B homemaker program for people 60 and older. There's no income limit to that. And SARPC, excuse me, again, stands for what? South Alabama Regional Planning Commission, to be in Mobile, I think. Is that true? I think so. Well, we've got about 3 more minutes, folks. I hate to have dead airspace on here. Ms. Mayhan, do you have anything else to offer?
I do not.
Okay. I want to thank you again for being here. And she told me when we were waiting earlier that one of her fondest experiences was working with an aging person. I believe it was an 84-year-old woman, and just listening to that person's stories. And I guess that's why many of you do what you do. Is this why I do what I do? I find no greater pleasure than listening to someone who's lived life and all the things about their life. And maybe that's why all of us do these professions. Miss Kathy says, I know veterans can get in-home services, but otherwise you have to hire a service yourself that I know of. And Miss Jernigan thanks you for the information. Ms. Duhan asks, is the Title III-B program located in other parts of Alabama? Ms. Phillips says the waiting list is definitely a barrier. And so back to the Alabama Cares, Ms. Mayhan, what does that provide again? Does it provide sitters, did it say?
It's helping the people that are caring for persons with dementia and Alzheimer's related diseases. Because, so fun fact, I guess, I don't really know if it's really fun, but informational fact is that dementia, there's a variety of types of dementia. Alzheimer's is just one of them, happens to be a very common one, but there's a variety of different types of dementia that can affect people at a variety of ages. Like there's one that affects children, and it is called Sanfilippo syndrome, and that they'll start developing as a normal child. Then at a certain age, they will start regressing, and it has the same effects that one would have if they had dementia, like losing the ability to eat and swallow and stuff like that. The sleep patterns are kind of off, regressing in verbal communication, mobility, things like that we're seeing with our elderly. There's this thing called Lewy body dementia. The youngest person that I've seen with Lewy body is, well, it affects their like their body, their ability to walk and stuff, but it doesn't necessarily affect their brain. Or at least this person, it didn't affect their brain. And she was 55. So there's a variety of different forms of dementia. So that's what Alabama Cares is doing, is to help that.
So it's more about respite care for the caregiver. So we bring in sitters maybe for a short term.
Yes, and
but not long term, not daily. I got you.
Support, I guess you should say, is the better word. Is that
Miss Wright had said there's one reason I prefer to work with the elderly rather than children, because the elderly have so much that they can teach me about life. And I'll tell you, and Ms. Mayhan had said to me too, that working with children is so difficult emotionally. Any of you who do that, I'm sure know that would be the case. In my experience, says Mrs. Shaw, you don't have to have Medicaid to apply for homemaker services. During the approval process, you're assisted by the program. That's correct. They assist you with the Medicaid application in order that you qualify. just as they would do in an institution. Ms. Shanklin says in Pennsylvania, for example, now remember Ms. Shanklin's from Maryland, they have the options program, which can provide some in-home care, and Medicaid is not required in order to access. So you see it's different everywhere. As Ms. Mayhan pointed out, they're all funded differently. And I wonder, I'm sorry, I interrupted you again, Ms. Mayhan. You were saying that the Alabama CARES Act was important in providing respite care. Well, maybe she got booted off the call, Ms. Weston. I don't know if anyone else has been booted off yet. Ms. Mayhan says Title III-B of the OAA encourages and assists state and local agencies in the development of comprehensive and coordinate in-home and community-based long-term care for age 60 plus. Oh, thank you, Ms. Mayhan. I don't know if you're still on camera, but I appreciate everything you brought to us too. And OAA, would you explain that to me? It's Office of Area Agencies, maybe?
Older Americans Act.
Oh.
It says, so I did a little Google search because I wanted to give people the information while we're here. It says, the Older Americans Act funds critical services that keep our nation's seniors healthy and independent. Services like meals, job training, senior centers, health promotion, benefits, enrollment, caregiver support, and transportation. We just had our Older Americans Act month in June, or May, excuse me. We are in June. In May, we just had that. That was our senior picnics that promoted that across the different counties, and several area agencies on aging had that. OAA is actually how the Ombudsman program was established back in the 1980s. That's interesting. That's a good fact to know. Thank you.
Well, Ms. Shanklin, I wonder, so many things that we talk about are probably different in Alabama than in Maryland. So I appreciate you making the effort to listen to us talk. And I'll tell you something else. So I had sent Ms. Mayhan, Maria, the link. And so not only does she post a link for y'all, but she put it on a QR code, which again is the beauty of you. She just Googled something while we were talking. I love that she's young and doing this. I can't stress that enough.
I'll share the QR code again. Here we go.
She said, Ms. Shanklin says, it's been helpful as I work with customers all over the country. And I'll tell y'all something that we do, and I don't know if it would help these caregiving programs, but we have a QR code that I can post if you want. And if you scan it, it lists about 1,200 independent caregivers. And then you can choose who you want by saying, have they been background checked? Do they have insurance? You know, this or that, how much do they cost? And then interview them and choose your own. And that may be of assistance to people who are like getting funds. I think one of those acts that Ms. Mayhan described was that people were sort of self-funding or self-directing where those funds go. That might be helpful for someone like that to be able to find someone who's in the $12 to $15 range and not the $25, $26 range that agencies are now charging, which is, you know, that's about $140,000, $160,000 a year full time. Well, we're at 12:54, y'all. I think we can all excuse ourselves. I do want to thank Ms. Mayhan again. Is there anything you'd like to add at the conclusion?
Thank you, everyone.
Oh,
I'm have and let people know the answers, I guess, because I only got one email from Miss Sherry. So
well, and if you don't mind, I'll copy you on and tomorrow, those of you who remember the password is all caps, it's AgeLine, all caps, AGELINE, to the QR code on the screen. And when I send the certificate, which will be within 24 hours, I'll include Ms. Mayhan, and you can ask her any questions, and I know she will be quick to come up with the answer. Thank you all for being here. We'll resume our presentations, our CEUs in July. So we're going to take a little time off and come back probably around July 10th. Most of you are on our email blast. If you're not, let me know and I'll add you. And you can always find our calendar posted at our website, which is carepatrol.com/advisors/Sean-Barnes. So you can always find our upcoming calendar and recorded presentations like this one that you can watch for recorded credit if you're a social worker, and just obviously watch for credit if you're a nurse. We appreciate everyone being here. Thank you again, Ms. Mayhan. And she's the second person in every evaluation we ask, hey, would you like to present? She's the second person who's volunteered, and she did a great job. And I hope she'll come back. Standing invitation to come back. Ms. Melton, you'll be asked for I believe you're giving me your nursing number or social number. Oh, the list of sitters, a different thing. Ms. Melton, you'll be asked for your license number on the evaluation. Oh, I'm sorry. I believe that's everything, unless I'm waiting on a message from you, Ms. Melton, and I'm happy to stick. I'll send the QR code to y'all too in the body of the email I send out. Oh, Ms. Melton, I will add you. Troy Medical Center. Okay, absolutely. Let me copy that before I forget it. Thank you all again for being here. It's a wonderful day with you. I'll see you in July. Have a great 4th of July and look forward to seeing you next month.